welcome to the Shoot, Reload, Repeat podcast. I am your host, Practical as Buck, and today I have a guest with me who has been on the show before, Joseph Kenedy, aka Ultra Performance on Instagram and YouTube. We finally got him back on the show. I think our last episode together was in, I don't even know. When's the last time we recorded together? I think August. Is it August 16th?
Yeah.
So it's been a few months. So I wanted to get him back on here after he shot a couple USPSA matches and kind of see where he's at, see where his headspace is at at the end of the season here. But before we do that, why don't we kind of talk about what we've done recently? So was there anything you want to talk about recently that you've done in guns or shooting thing?
Yeah, I think just most recently is just shooting my second USPSA match, and I invested in some dry fire practice targets, and also the dry fire reloading manual from Ben Stoger. So really just because of the hustle and bustle of the holidays and stuff like that, outside of shooting that second match, which I know we'll dive in a little bit later, but just trying to be regimented in my dry fire practice. So I guess that's kind of what I've done recently.
Yes, I have not touched my gun since I got back from Area 59. I guess it was last weekend, not this weekend, but last weekend. So I haven't even touched my gun. I haven't touched my belt. The only thing I have done is Devin Hijek, a.k.a. Mr. 2 Alpha 0 Down on Instagram. He sent me some DG bullets to try out. Sent me some 135s and 147. So I got those loaded up. I bumped my powder up to like 3.3. Grant's a tight group, and I loaded those up. So I'm going to go shoot those tomorrow, chrono them, see what they're at, and if I like them, I might go with them. We'll see. I do kind of want to just talk. I don't want to take up a whole lot of our time, but I do want to talk about Area 59 because I haven't been on the podcast or had to record an episode since I shot it. So I shot the Eli Area 59 Championship 2 weekends ago. First level 2. I just want to say, Joseph, if you want to shoot a level 2, dude, you should just go do it. I was like super nervous about doing it. I signed up for it like in August. It was kind of like my nationals, like my first major match at the end of the season. I was worried about, because people always say you need to have a backup gun. I didn't have any of that, so I just kind of showed up and shot the stages, and it's so much fun, man. I shot on squad 305. Some of the guys were actually from they're not local. They live in Laredo, but they come and shoot all the River City matches down here, and super, super nice guys. Got to meet my buddy Alex on Instagram. He's Takes Gun Arsenal. Awesome dude. We decided to squad together. It's just a lot of fun, man. Like I shot 2-day format, 6 stages each day, and it's really just like a big local match. If you think about it, if you just kind of take like off the pressure, and I didn't like have pressure like on myself. Only pressure I really had was just that I put on myself because I didn't know there was nobody like, oh crap, look, there's Calvin Leatherwood, he's gonna win the match. Yeah. But it was fun, man. The first 6 stages I shot were great. They're probably the hardest stages. Had a couple dumpster fires at the beginning, but got through them. And then the second day, the stages were a little bit easier. I kind of pushed. I had a chance to win C-class carry optics, but I missed it. I compared my times, like on practice score competitor with the guy that won. He just had faster times. I had really good hits. Probably one of my most accurate matches. I think I shot 200 and something alphas.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing that post actually. That's dope.
I shot, let's see, I have it right here, 247 alphas. So compared to him, compared to the guy that I beat, I think he, had about the same. Max Michel had shot the match on Friday. So comparing him to me, he shot 257 alphas. I shot 247, but he only had 34 Charlies, 4 Deltas, and 1 mic, and I had 6 mics. So, and 1 no shoot. So, not bad. I only shot 50% of the national champion, so that makes me happy. But it was just a fun match. Definitely we'll do more level 2, level 3 matches in the future. So just wanted to put that out there. It was great. If you want, go on Instagram at Practicals Book. I've posted some stages. I'll probably continue to post stages. I didn't want to post all of them at once. I'll probably just continue to keep posting them and posting them, things like that. So
Definitely.
hopefully, but yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. If you have not shot level 2, listeners, and you want to, just go do it. Sign up for it, pay for it. Squall with some people you know, because it makes it a lot more fun. The only guy I didn't know anybody until I met Alex, because we just talked on Instagram, and these other dudes I kind of knew from the other stages, and it's just fun to be able to bounce ideas, be able to stage plan with people. It's just the camaraderie too is one thing I do like about the shooting sports. So definitely, guys, get to try that out. So that's all I got. Other than that, I haven't really done anything. Haven't dry fired. Um, haven't even touched my gun since I got back from the match. That's why I kind of want to go shoot tomorrow. Kind of gave myself some time off. I don't really take an off season because, uh, down here in Texas, we don't really get that bad of a winter. So we could, in January, matches will start back up. It'll be a little cool, but there will be matches to shoot. Then during the fall with my work, I don't have time to practice during that time anyway. So that kind of is like my off season. So I'm ready to get back into it and try to get a little bit faster. So let's talk about your second USPSA match. So last time we talked to you, you were going to go shoot your first match, correct?
That's right. Yeah. It was like the night before I shot that first match.
And so I know we didn't have time to record a podcast. So after you shot that first match, me and you talked on, we texted and we talked, and you were like hooked. But what were like some of your thoughts? Like, how did you feel about your performance?
Yeah, honestly, it was a little bit of a culture shock because I previously had shot, I think, like 5 IDPA matches, and that's where I cut my teeth on the shooting sports that was in IDPA, as we previously discussed. And I get there and we're doing a stage review, and I'm used to, the RO picking up the book and giving you the the silly scenario in the beginning, and everybody's hawking you if you like pick your hand up to ghost gun it. They're looking at you, weird, and because you're not allowed to ghost gun, which was a thing. And I didn't realize that. I had read the rule book and understood that you can't ghost gun, but then there were like some guys that would when no one was looking. I was like, this weird thing. And then I get to this, and full disclosure, I read all of the IDPA rule book before shooting IDPA because it was like on my first time. I was like really just concerned with getting DQ'd, all this stuff. And then going into my first USPSA match, I to this day, I still haven't read the entirety, a bit of a confession here. I still haven't read the entirety of the rule book, which I know I definitely need to be better. I need to repent and do better with that. But I remember showing up and just watching these guys and gals run through, and their stage walkthrough was literally them walking through it,
Yes.
and everybody's kind of lined up. It's like what I equated it to is everybody kind of getting on the diving board and jumping off one by one, and you watch how one person would run it, and then you'd come back and try it that way, and then they'd try a different way. And it was really cool because it's like it's in racing and stuff. They have something called is it happy hour? In NASCAR, they have happy hour, and it's just everybody just does open laps, And
Yeah.
so I kind of equated it to that. So that was a culture shock, being able to see people just have open laps, trying to figure out their stage plan. I really felt like on my second match, I embraced that time a lot better because it still kind of felt, it kind of felt wrong. The first match,
Right.
a couple of stages going through. So yeah, coming away, I just can't overstate the importance of just round count. I'm shooting production. I didn't realize that there are things you could do that would bump you to open if you effed up. And for example, my second match, there was a really, really hard-nosed RO out there, certified range officer, and he really wore that on his sleeve. And I didn't have enough mag carriers for an unloaded start, unholstered unloaded start. And so, of course, the magazine that would be in the pistol was required to be on the belt. And I'm penny pincher, right? I'm trying to like not get crazy in equipment just when you try to shoot it, without spending a ton of money. And so I bought some extra mag carriers, but I knew I should have bought one more, but I didn't. I said, whatever. And he goes, hey, just so you know, as soon as you make ready and everything, and the buzzer goes off and you pull that, because I went to put the mag in my pocket. He said, as soon as you pull that magazine out of your pocket, I'm bumping you to open class. And I paused and I was like, what? And he's, I wasn't mad, but I was just trying to gain clarification. He's like, it's in the rule book. He's like, anything you do to gain an unfair advantage is going to take you out of production, put you in the open. And so I literally shot a huge stage, and I, for just to kind of put some numbers behind it, I dropped 100 points. I shot a great match for my second USPSA match. If it
Right.
was not for that stage, I dropped 100 freaking points. And so immediately I got online and ordered my fourth mag pouch. So it's crucial.
See,
Round count's crucial.
I don't really agree with that too much, because first, we're at a local match, and I understand we have to follow the rules, but obviously it's like, as an RO, and he was probably on your squad, right?
Yeah, he was. He DQ'd 2 people on our squad, BT Dubs,
And
that
so he
same
should
day.
know that, and he knows that you're like a beginning shooter. I don't know. I guess it's kind of like a double-edged sword. I don't know. Like, it's weird because I feel like, you're a brand new shooter, and the fact that you had to do that, I don't know if I would have made that call. I guess I'm not a certified RO, so I guess whatever, that doesn't mean anything, I guess. But I don't know. To me, that's kind of crazy. Like, I can understand, like, if you had like a legit setup, like, double belt, everything, like you were decked out in gear and you tried doing that, I might have done that. But I know, like, me and you talked, like, you're just using like your standard belt you use for IDPA, right?
Right.
Right. To me, that's kind of crazy. But hey, and
Yeah.
it's funny though what you're talking about your walkthrough. So technically you have 5 minutes, right? That's what you're supposed to get for each stage. And
Right.
so at the level 2, at level 1s, you can kind of, depending on how big the match is, sometimes you get more than 5 minutes. It kind of ends up being 6 or 7. People really still trying to figure it out. Unless you have that RO on your squad, and he probably going to give you 5 minutes. But at the level 2s, the RO set the timer, and once that timer goes off, they tell you to clear the stage. And I don't know if there's a procedural or anything. Like you, I have not read the entire rule book, and probably need to do that probably during the winter time when we don't have as many matches. I can sit down and read it. Maybe I can find an audio book version of it. But yeah, it's just I think that's a big difference between like you said, between IDPA and USPSA, is actually getting to walk a stage, go scun it. A lot of guys at Area 59, they take their hearing protection off, or they take their hat off, and they'd use that as like a gun instead of just using their hands, which I thought was kind of cool.
That was cool.
So a little different way to think about it.
Yeah.
So I mean, do you? I guess, do you like shooting production though? Is that something that you want to stick with, shooting production?
Oh, 100%. I still think the underlying fundamental drive for me to get into the shooting sports is to just try to practice my, get trigger time. It's a great way. And I won't pretend. A lot of people kind of borrowing this from a guy in the self defense and training realm. His name is Varg Freeborn. He's a trainer I really want to train with. Maybe I will someday. He's out of Ohio. I was reading his book called Violence of Mind, and he kind of just hammers. It comes down on competition shooters and things that he hears that, shooting my pistol under stress and duress, of a match, that's going to prepare me for a violent encounter, so I won't go as far as to say like I like shooting and my drive for shooting competition is to prepare me for a violent encounter from a personal defense situation, but I still feel like it does put me in somewhat of a stressful situation, and for me to have to operate my firearm at a high level, that's will always be the underlying driver. And I love shooting a match with the pistol that I carry every single day. So the goal, like what I have written down, what I'm tracking towards, is to be able to shoot at a class with production, and and I know that being able to shoot the master class would be great. But what I'm doing is I'm setting um, the master class is, or excuse me, A class shooter in production is what I want to be able to hit. Once I've hit that A class proficiency, then the pistol that I have is a Gen 5 17 MOS variant, so it has a cutout for optic. I can then go ahead, grab my optic, and I can shoot carry optic. So the
Sweet. I like
yeah,
that.
so that's what I want to do. So it's great to buy one pistol and then to be able to shoot two divisions ultimately with that pistol.
It's really interesting that you say that about USPSA, especially since you're coming from IDPA. And I'm not trying to dump on IDPA like I usually do, but IDPA, a lot of those dudes that shoot that, they're of that, self-defense mindset. IDPA stands for International Defensive Pistol Association. But I feel like with USPSA, there's much more thinking going on in your stage plan and I haven't shot an IDPA match in probably like 3 years, 2 or 3 years. So correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Kennedy. Like
Mm-hmm.
in IDPA, pretty much you shoot the targets in whatever order the stage tells you to, correct?
They give there's like positions and they refer to those positions as P's.
Right.
Uh, P is in Papa, and so it's like P1, P2, P3. They'll say shoot this at P1, then go to P2, and then P3. So they do tell you, yeah. So that is correct.
Okay. And so like, I know we haven't shot a match. I haven't seen the stages that you've shot in USPSA, but I feel like a lot of times in USPSA, there's much more thinking going on with your stage plans. Like I can just think about from Area 59 because that's my most recent match. There was a couple stages where I had to really memorize where targets were at, and I really had to think on my feet as I shot it, because if I didn't, then I was either going to miss targets, which I did. I had a failure to shoot at an FTSA, um, and I don't know. I almost feel like USPSA is a little bit better for that because the stages can be a little bit bigger. They can be a little bit more complex, and if with that thinking, because you're literally having to think with the gun in your hand. You had to think, okay, I'm gonna go shoot this target, this target, this target. I'm gonna reload. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna shoot this target, this still, reload. Especially shooting production, there's a little bit more thinking going in about where you're shooting, where you're going to shoot targets from. How can you maybe blend positions together, where you can go and shoot more things in one spot than another spot. So I don't know. I just kind of thought that was interesting that you said that.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think that being told, P1, P2, P3, shoot this target here and here, this array from here, this array from here. They kind of spoon feed it to you. And then to boot, then they tell you to shoot things in tactical priority. This is what I felt and found during my second USPSA match. I felt like I'd be doing the 5-minute walkthrough, I'd be ghost gunning and I would try things. And you mentioned memorizing, 5 minutes to memorize something, especially if you're shooting that stage first. I mean, that's an extremely small amount of time to be able to take in those data points from a 5-minute walkthrough and then be able to execute. And so I remember there was one stage specifically that had you start, and there was the way the targets were set up. It was tricky, and it was fun in a 5-minute walkthrough to feel myself be able to say, "Oh wait, I'm not going to do it like this. I'm going to do it like this," and then be able to go and execute and try to get somewhat close to your stage plan versus having someone read a book and tell you what to do like a robot. No, definitely more fulfilling on the side of being able to see, plan, and then execute, or at least try to anyway.
It's a lot of creative problem solving is the way I like to look at it.
Yeah, for sure, agreed.
So the USPSA match director, whoever designed the stage, they give you a problem and you have to solve it. So it's very, very interesting. So your
Definitely.
last when was the so I guess the last match you shot, your very first match was in August. When was the next match? When was your most recent match? When did you shoot that?
Looking on practice score, I want to say it was. Let's see, it was last month. It was just in October. So just last month.
Awesome. So I'm guessing that was probably your last USPSA for the season for the
I
2019. It's probably your
you
last
know
match.
definitely I think so. And yeah, there's just with the holidays and everything we were talking a little bit before we kicked off that the show that it's just kind of gets hard to shoot matches around this time of year. And for a new shooter, I think cutting my teeth on 2 matches was perfect. Honestly, I think it was just enough to help me see where I was at, kind of set a baseline, and then be able to just hit the reset button and get ready for Jan 1. And as you mentioned, here being in Texas where we don't have super aggressive winters, it gets cooler, but going out and shooting a match is not difficult in January and February, because especially in the Austin, the San Antonio area, it is just, I mean, today I'm walking around, I'm down at the
Yeah,
Alamo and I'm sweating, and it's,
yeah, it's like 80 degrees outside of the last
yeah,
3 days.
yeah.
Yeah,
And so yeah,
I
no more matches for me this season.
yeah, I agree. Alpha Mike's supposed to have one more match, and I might try to shoot it. We'll see. I think what I'm just going to worry about, what I'm going to do probably starting in the next couple weeks, is um, kind of get gear squared away. I want to get a second gun built. Um, I really want to. I'm definitely going to dry fire. I'm going to try to get ammo loaded. So I'm working on getting some new bullets, things like that. So yeah, I think the match days are over for me as well. I don't
Definitely.
know. I don't really have any plans for off season. I'll probably talk about more about off season later on.
Definitely.
And like before the year is over, I'll probably put out an episode because I think I might take a little hiatus, and I feel like I already have taken a hiatus. Just looking at when I posted episodes, um, I kind of got busy there with work for a while, so I couldn't always put out a episode. So hopefully, coming in the beginning of 2020, some be able to put out more and more episodes. So
Definitely.
I guess what are some takeaways from your last 2 matches that you're going to try to work on in this? What is called quote off season?
Definitely. So there was quite a time between that first and second match, right? And I mentioned that I grabbed the Dry Fire Practice Reloaded book from Ben Stoker, and being here in Austin, their distribution's here, so I was able to go in there and pick it up from the guys. And
How
anytime
is
it's
this?
any
How is the storefront? I've always wanted. I might have to drop by one time. How is it in there?
it's definitely an online store. They have it's the entry. It's an entryway. It's small, and they have some shelves with some products. But it's their bread and butter is the Ben Stoker Pro Shop is online. So
Right.
it was cool, and the customer service was unparalleled. It was great since it's not their primary drive of business isn't that storefront, brick and mortar. I had one of the guys come out, and he was a Carry Optics guy. I can't remember his name, although it's pretty bad. I probably should remember his name, but he just came out and he just talked gear and he just talked USPSA. And anytime you can get to talk USPSA with another person, it's always fun. So it was definitely, customer service was way cool. To be able to go there in person was a lot of fun. So yeah, I recommend it if you're ever in the area. Stopping by is cool. The dudes are cool over there.
And those dudes aren't. Most of those dudes are they're members at Austin Rifle Club, right?
Yeah,
They,
not only
they
are they
run
members,
they
yeah,
run that match, don't they?
they sure do. So not only are they members of the Austin Rifle Club, they're members of Austin Practical Shooters. So um, yeah, they're members of the local USPSA club here in Austin as well. Which yeah, so they eat, sleep, and drink it. And I told them that my eventual goal. It was funny. There was another one that came out and was kind of helping me and talk to me, and I let them know that I was going to do production with, ultimately would, after I kind of got to a certain proficiency, I'd move into carry optics. And then the one guy was like, well, if your ultimate goal is to shoot carry optics, he's like, you should just start shooting carry optics right away, because they're,
I
they're, they're two
I
different things.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's fair, but Mike, I think with my experience and my love for USPSA already, I could see myself wanting to do kind of all the divisions, and so might as well start in production and then
Work your way
run
up.
the gun. Yeah, work my way up and kind of get a taste and feel. So as far as takeaways go, I feel like my major takeaway was I grabbed the dry fire practice manual, I grabbed the dry fire practice targets. I started on page 1. I read all of Ben's commentary about dry fire practice, and I was disciplined. I practiced nearly nightly. doing each drill. And it's really great because it's like having Ben at my house teaching me concepts that I'm not gonna, you're not going to get just by shooting a match without somebody teaching and training you. And for example, he talks about getting a sight picture, and once the sight picture is there, focus on trigger pulls, right? And there's these tiny little drills that he has you do that are tiny little building blocks, man. And if it wasn't for that 100 points that I dropped on the one stage for not being able for not well, I didn't have enough magazines to finish, and then I forgot to top a magazine off, uh, which is a horrible mistake because I was running I was scoring and I just wasn't paying attention, and then I ran anyway. So I mean, other than that, if I go back and look at my scores from all the other matches, I mean, my hit factors were pretty good. And I was really impressed with one of my hit factors on one of the stages, and it was because I was applying those things that Ben is teaching in the Dry Fire Reloaded book. And so, my biggest takeaway is that dry fire practice is the man. Like it works, and as silly as it may seem, I got my target set up in my bedroom, and I'm like, my wife walks by and she sees me LARPing in the bedroom, and she's like, "You're an idiot," you know. As silly as I feel sometimes, it was so fun to be able to see a sight picture, pull the trigger, and then go through and literally for the first time being able to know what calling a shot felt like, and then to hear the RO go through and two alpha, alpha Charlie, be and to to be able to feel that and to hear that, it just it's just such a great feeling.
Yeah. I just pulled up your I'm not being a stalker, but I just pulled up your thing, and just like looking at the guy who won, looking at the guy who won production, you know, um, your times. Just like looking at your times. Your times are close, like within seconds, which is good. Which is good
Right.
considering, like with shooting IDPA, freaking IDPA, it's people shoot really slow. And if you listen to like Devin Hijick um, on the podcast when I first interviewed him, he said that's like the hardest part is speeding up. So yeah, man, I think that's good. The dry fire reloaded is where I started. I really hit it hard this summer when I started with the dot because I was just lost. And it's great, man. And then, I don't know if you've gotten to the back of it. He like lays out different drills. So like if you're slow, you're accurate but slow, he gives you drills that you can do. If you're fast but not accurate, he gives you things that you can do. So it's great. And do you like the targets make a difference? I think aiming and working on those dry fire on targets that you're going to see makes a huge difference. Um, I just bought. You just bought the starter pack, right? The little $10 one that has like all the steel targets in it and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was
That's
the one that came. There was like the book, and it came with a set of targets. It was like in like a pack. That's what or the
that's what you
starter
bought.
pack.
That's good.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, and I think really, like in some of my matches before Area 59, I sucked it with steel Area 59, but some of my other matches, I was watching some match video, and I think a lot of that shooting that still so well came from dry firing on those mini poppers. Like I'll set a
Oh,
few mini poppers up, and I'll stand like 10 yards away, and I'll just draw and transition. And I don't know. There's a big case to be made about doing daily or multiple times a week dry fire. I try to get my dad to dry fire, and he will not do it. He gets bored. Those boomers, they got short attention spans. But yeah, I think that's probably like your best bet because you don't really have a setup to go and live fire, correct?
no, the best. I mean, I could join ARC, Austin Rifle Club, which I probably should, and I don't know, maybe I will. But honestly, if I want to get live fire in and validate things, which I actually did a live fire session, I went to an indoor range, static range, and what I validated there? I validated trigger pull, right? And so I went and did 200 rounds at a static range, and all I was validating was my dry fire trigger pull practice because
Yeah,
I,
that's true. Yeah.
and that's all I'd had to do. And so when I come back here, I
Hold on.
practice as long as my trigger
You
pull.
still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. You got me? Can you still hear me?
Hold on. Back. So, Joe, we were talking about the dry fire. So, why don't you kind of talk about where we
Yeah.
left off? We had some technical difficulties that's been plaguing us lately.
Yeah, I was just saying, not really a spot to live fire out here, but I will go to a static range. I validate one thing and one thing only at my dry fire practice, live fire, and that's just trigger pull. Is my trigger pull, when I line the sight up and I pull the trigger, is the point of impact where the sights were at when I pulled the trigger? And, I'm actually doing dry fire practice on the line as well. If my impact is off, then I'll see, like, where am I jerking? Where am I off at? And I'll correct that. So, yeah, that's what I do. I validate. And then everything else is come here, do come back home, do target transitions, reloads, and, practice getting a trigger pull with no movement of the front sight. And I mean, that's been great for me.
That's good. Yeah. I think that that's a good way to look at it. And hopefully, you hopefully you'll be able to find a place or be able to go and, validate that live fire and validate that dry fire. I'm lucky and also have a little bit of land I can shoot on it. I can't do a whole lot, but I can go out and I can practice. So that's good, man. So it seems like I feel like this next season it's going to be good for you. Hopefully you'll be able to shoot a bunch of matches. Hopefully we'll get to shoot a match together.
That would be awesome.
That would be great. I'll try to come out to Austin. I like shooting that match in Austin. It's such a good match. It's just a long drive, but I think it's almost worth it because they put on just as good. I mean, they put on really good. I think their stages are all great. I guess I don't know if they design all their own stages. I don't know if they pull from like other level twos, level threes, because I know that's what some clubs do. But man, they do put on a good match, and I love that range out there. I love the shade that's out there, especially in the
Yeah,
summertime. It's great,
the awnings are huge. Yeah, it's really good.
and it's just hard to get into those stages because so many people or those matches because they fill up so quick.
Yeah,
So
yeah, peak season time they sure do fill up quickly, and yeah, it's a really great club. I know I feel the same way about the Cedar Ridge matches. I want to get out there to shoot more, and then apparently there are matches out in Temple. I know I shot a match at Austin Rifle Club, and they made an announcement before we started shooting that there was going to be a match that somebody was holding out in Temple, and they were running 6 stages, and 5 of the 6 were classifiers, and so they were like, if you're trying to get your classification, go shoot this match. And it was a Sunday. I don't do Sunday matches. And I was like, man, it would be so dope to just go out there and shoot that. So apparently I got to figure out who runs these matches in Temple because they're supposed to be good ones too. Heavy
yeah,
classifiers.
I've heard that. I've heard that they do good matches out there. That's Temple's too far to go. It'd be like a 3 hour drive
For
for a local
sure.
match. Or drive to Houston. But yeah, definitely. Sometimes Alpha Mike, or just be on the lookout. Sometimes they'll do like special qualifier matches, classifier matches. I did one this summer. That's how I got classified in carry optics. So that's good, man. So I get that classification. I wouldn't worry
Definitely.
too much about the classification, but it's always nice to get that U away from your name, right?
Exactly. I can't wait. I'm going to celebrate when there's no U. I don't care if it's a D. Hopefully it won't be a D, or I'll celebrate a C, but just to get that U off will be great.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome, man. Was there anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you
uh,
want to mention?
yeah, I think that it's just super important. Uh, I'm I, here. I think this is like my parting thought. I shot my second match with two pistol caliber carbine people shooting. I think it was like a girlfriend,
Uh,
boyfriend, right? I hear the moan, right? The
I think I know
girlfriend,
who you're.
boyfriend.
They shoot the matches out there, right? They're like
Yeah,
locals. I think I
yeah.
know who you're talking about. I don't want to out anybody, but I know who you're talking
No,
about.
for sure. But wonderful people. Like, it was so fun shooting with them. And the RO that disqualified, that DQ, that got on me and then DQ the first time shooter for literally I had to go in and disposition the DQ for unsupervised gun handling. I won't put that RO on blast either, but if he's listening to this, he freaking knows who he is, right? But I'm shooting with these pistol caliber carbine folks, uh, and they're just salt of the earth, just super good people. And the same RO who DQ'd people is just like at the match, like next time I come to the match, I'm gonna, because the one guy had his shirt, the one pistol caliber PCC guy had his PCC is not a crime shirt, and that like made me like laugh because it's fun to throw shade and we do so, and I hope that we do so lovingly, right? Like I'm gonna get a little kumbaya on this, parting words here, but I hope we throw shade lovingly. I know if I ever joke, I do so, jokingly, very lovingly, right? But I mean, the same the same RO was like, I'm gonna wear my PCC is gay shirt, and I don't know. It was just I just felt like it was unnecessary shade, and so I just wanted to say, like, if you're shooting out there, everybody needs to shoot, and everybody needs to feel welcome, and ain't nobody got time for just unwelcomeness out there in USPSA. So stay cool and just be super loving and inviting to everybody to get them out there shooting.
We're gonna have to when we log off this thing, you're going to tell me what that dude's name is, so I don't squat with that dude because I don't know if I could shoot with that guy.
Yeah, I will.
I have a very low tolerance for terrible ROs. So does
Yeah.
Dad after Hose Fest.
Oh, that was ridiculous.
I can't talk about. I can't really deal with that kind of nonsense in my life.
For sure.
Awesome. We'll definitely have to get you back on. We're gonna have to get together and shoot a match. Hopefully next year when the season kicks back up, we can get together and shoot. Maybe one day we can go out and train or something, do some practice.
Dude,
It'd be awesome.
I'm down for it all, man.
Do some practice, and I'll bring my buddy Adam out there. He's gonna start shooting carry optics as well.
Let's go.
He just got a dot, so we're gonna practice tomorrow. He's gonna shoot it. So, but yeah, man, I'm glad to get you back on here. You're always welcome to be on the podcast because I think this would be a nice addition to our podcast, seeing you kind of grow, or I guess not seeing you, but hearing you grow in a way will be good because I think people hear me and my dad talk, and we've kind of been in the sport for a little bit. I think it's good to always have someone on that's fresh meat and kind of just learning everything. So
Yeah,
I appreciate
absolutely.
you being on, man, and I promise I'm not a stalker. I just wanted to look at your practice score competitor, dude. I don't know if you have the app. You need to download it because I changed your scores on that one you zeroed. Like I just put Alpha Charlies for the ones for your mics, right?
Right.
And you would have been you would have got second to last in production, which is good. Second to last, which is good.
Yeah.
You need to download the app, dude. Wait, hold on. I gotta take these procedurals off.
Take those. Yeah.
Approve. See, look, dude, you would have been even better. Let's see.
What does it say? I'm downloading it right now.
You would have been six in production. It would have put you at 2 spots.
See?
You would have shot 84% of that dude. So you can't beat
it's
that.
$10 though. Oh,
dude, it's worth it, man. It's so worth it. Like, it's so worth it. Every match I go in and I play with my scores and you can compare people. I know that's what I first said, but then I said, you know what? I'm just gonna download it because it is worth it. My wife was like, why did you buy it? Why did you buy a $10 app? I said, because just look, lady, it's legit.
Okay, I'll try that one and let you know how it goes.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it. Make sure you guys follow Mr. Kenedy, here on Instagram at Alta Performance. Also, his YouTube channel is Alta Performance as well. Follow me at Practical as Buck on Instagram. On Facebook, search Shoot Reload Repeat Podcast. I am going to merge my Practical as Buck and my Shoot Reload Repeat podcast page. I'll probably do that here in a minute. So, because I think people keep going on Facebook and liking it. So that way I don't have like a whole bunch of pages out there. Go out there, check out the page. Hopefully we can do another listener question. Maybe after the season's over. I think we're going to take a little hiatus from the podcasting for a little bit. Is there anything you want to plug or talk about before you jump out?
No, you just did.
Leave.
Yeah, no, if you're a first time shooter and you came across this podcast because you're thinking about jumping into USPSA, do it. Just do
Yeah,
it.
do it. Yeah, if you shoot IDPA, sorry, switch to the USPSA. It's more fun. But thank you guys for listening. Oh, and just want to say happy Thanksgiving because I'm going to post this before Thanksgiving. So if you're listening to this
Yes.
on your way to your in-laws, happy Thanksgiving. Have a good. Make sure you don't eat too much turkey, unless you shoot carry optics and eat a lot of turkey. Get nice and fat, so that way I can beat you next season. So that's all I got to say. Anything you want to? Any last parting things before we leave, Mr. Kennedy?
Nope, that's it, man. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Take care.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. We really do appreciate you listening here at the Shoot, Reload, Repeat podcast and putting up with our nonsense. Thank you guys for listening, and shoot fast and don't suck.